During Noah's time, the earth had become a place of corruption and violence. People had strayed far from God, living selfishly and ignoring the Creator's ways. Evil was everywhere, and each generation seemed to fall deeper into sin, with no respect for the creation around them. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become, and that every thought in their hearts was only evil all the time. God, saddened by what had become of the world, decided it was time to bring judgment. He chose to destroy all living things, both humans and animals, to cleanse the earth. But in the midst of this darkness, one man stood out: Noah. Noah was a righteous man, one of the few who still walked faithfully with God. God saw goodness in him and chose Noah to save humanity and the animals from the coming disaster. God spoke to Noah, revealing his plan to flood the world, and instructed Noah to build a large ark to save his family and two of every kind of creature. God, speaking with authority: "The end of all people has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence. I will destroy them with a flood of waters. But with you, I will make a covenant." Noah, trusting in God's word, accepted the mission without question. He had never seen rain or flooding before, but his faith in God was strong. God didn't just tell Noah to build an ark. He gave him exact details on how to do it. The ark would be enormous, much larger than any boat ever built. It was to be 300 cubits long, about 450 feet, 50 cubits wide, 75 feet, and 30 cubits high, 45 feet. It was to have 3 decks, compartments inside, and be sealed with pitch to make it waterproof. God, make an ark of cypress wood with rooms inside. Coat it with pitch inside and out, so it will be watertight. The task was daunting, and Noah and his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, began gathering the wood, cutting and shaping it to form the huge structure. As they worked, Noah continued to warn the people around him about the coming flood. But no one believed him. Mocker, shouting with laughter at Noah, "Look at old Noah, building a boat on dry land. He talks about a flood, but where's the rain?" Noah remained steadfast. He didn't let their taunts shake his faith. He trusted that God's plan would come to pass. He and his family worked day after day, their determination fueled by their belief in God's promise. As the ark neared completion, Noah began storing food, grains, dried fruits, and provisions for his family and all the animals that would come aboard. The once empty ark was now almost ready to fulfill its purpose. For many long years, Noah and his sons worked tirelessly to build the ark. The massive structure took shape, looming large against the landscape. People continued to mock Noah as they saw the enormous boat rise, still skeptical that anything like a flood could happen. As Noah worked, he also preached to the people, telling them about the judgment to come and urging them to turn from their evil ways. But no one listened. They laughed and carried on with their lives, thinking Noah was foolish. Mocker, laughing with friends, "If this flood is coming, where is it? There's not a drop of rain in sight." Noah didn't argue or defend himself. His faith was enough to keep him focused. He knew that God's promise was true, even if no one else could see it. His sons believed in their father's mission, and they continued working, cutting wood, shaping beams, and assembling the ark piece by piece. Noah also gathered supplies, making sure they had enough food to last through the flood. His family worked alongside him, gathering grains, storing fruit, and preparing for the long days ahead. With the ark nearly completed, Noah knew the time was drawing near. Finally, after many years of hard work, the ark was complete. The massive wooden structure stood ready, and Noah knew the flood was coming soon. God gave Noah further instructions. He was to gather 2 of every kind of animal on the earth, along with 7 pairs of animals that were considered clean for sacrifice. God, bring into the ark 2 of every kind of living creature, male and female, to keep them alive with you. Of the clean animals, take 7 pairs. What happened next was a miracle. Noah and his family watched in amazement as animals of all kinds began arriving at the ark. Lions, elephants, birds of every color, snakes, and even insects, all marched peacefully toward the ark. They came in pairs, just as God had commanded. Noah, with wonder in his eyes, God is guiding them. This is his hand at work. The animals filed into the ark, each finding their place in the different compartments Noah and his sons had built. From the largest elephant to the tiniest insect, every living creature was brought on board. The ark, once an empty structure, was now filled with life. With the ark fully loaded with animals and supplies, God told Noah that the flood would begin in 7 days. Time was running out for the people outside, who still lived their lives unaware of the disaster about to strike. God, in 7 days, I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe out all living things from the face of the earth. Noah obeyed God and called his wife, sons, and their wives to enter the ark. They were the only people allowed to board. As Noah and his family prepared to enter, the people outside continued mocking them, still refusing to believe. Mocker, laughing at Noah and his family. Look at them, locking themselves inside a boat. They'll never get out again. But Noah ignored their laughter and entered the ark with his family. Once everyone was safely inside, God himself shut the door. The world outside continued as usual, unaware that their time was almost up. After 7 days of silence, the sky began to change. Dark clouds rolled in, covering the sky. For the first time ever, rain began to fall. At first, it was light, but soon the rain turned into a downpour like no one had ever seen before. The springs of the deep burst forth, and the floodgates of heaven were opened. The rain fell continuously. Water gushed up from the earth, and rivers overflowed. The land quickly became submerged. People realized too late that Noah's warnings had been true. They ran in terror, seeking higher ground, but there was no escape. Inside the ark, Noah and his family heard the roaring waters and the cries of the people outside. The ark was lifted by the flood and began to float. The storm raged, but the ark remained strong, keeping them safe. Noah, peering out a small window, may God have mercy on those who are lost. The rain continued for 40 days and nights, and soon, the entire earth was submerged, with no sign of life outside the ark. Even after the rain stopped, the earth was still covered in water. The ark floated on the vast ocean that now covered everything. Inside, life continued. Noah and his family cared for the animals, feeding them and tending to their needs. The days passed slowly, with nothing but water in every direction. Shem, gazing at the endless water, "Father, will we ever see land again?" Noah's faith never wavered. He reassured his sons that God would remember them and that the waters would recede. Though the waiting was difficult, Noah knew that God had not abandoned them. Months passed, and slowly, the waters began to go down. The ark continued to float, but land had not yet appeared. After months of floating, the ark finally came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. But the earth was still covered in water, and Noah knew it wasn't yet time to leave the ark. To find out if the land was dry, Noah released a raven, but it found no place to land and returned. Next, Noah released a dove, but the dove also returned, unable to find dry land. Noah waited another week and sent out the dove again. This time, it returned with an olive leaf in its beak. Noah, holding the dove gently, the waters are receding. Life is returning. The olive branch was a symbol of hope. It was a sign that the earth was beginning to heal and that they would soon be able to leave the ark. After many months in the ark, God finally told Noah it was safe to leave. The waters had dried up, and the earth was ready to be repopulated. Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives stepped out of the ark into a fresh, clean world. God, come out of the ark, you and your family, and bring out all the animals, so they may multiply on the earth. Noah and his family watched as the animals left the ark, running free to repopulate the land. In deep gratitude, Noah built an altar and offered sacrifices to God, thanking him for their survival. And the Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans." This was the beginning of a new covenant between God and mankind. Noah knew that, though humanity had fallen, God was giving them a second chance. After Noah's sacrifice, God spoke to him, establishing a covenant. God promised never again to destroy the earth with a flood, and he gave a sign of this promise: the rainbow. God, this is the sign of the covenant I make between me and you and every living creature. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. The rainbow would always be a reminder of God's mercy and his promise to protect the earth. As Noah and his family looked up at the rainbow, they were filled with hope, knowing they were part of a new beginning. Noah's family repopulated the earth, and humanity was given a fresh start under God's protection. The rainbow remains an eternal symbol of God's faithfulness and love.